words at all in simple. Maybe don't let it go at that, but there are a lot of...
CP squared has 51 finest degrees of freedom, making...
On the way home, I got hungry, and I ate it.
We're Americans, and we don't like competition, okay? I'm eating, and I'm reading a book, and it's when you just comes up.
Did you seriously think you could somehow change the world from here?
Yeah, sort of at first.
And how do you feel about it now?
I'm not blazing with satisfaction or anything. But the truth is, it all ended for me the instant I shared my memories with you. At that point, when my work was done, I figured that you'd probably be able to run with it from there.
All the... You're a hell of a liar, kid. I clearly recall you didn't want me involved.
I'm sorry, but the minute you share and synchronize all your information, you lose your uniqueness and become absorbed into the unconscious maliciousness of a third party that has no motive, or perhaps into the will of someone who does have one.
Are those your words based on what you've gained from hard-earned experience?
Yes, and the fact is, you yourself play the role of a laughing man copycat as well.
Well, I have to admit, it was a fascinating phenomenon. At any rate, what was your underlying reason for triggering such a huge event in the first place?
To you, everything that's happening in the world appears phony to be something other than what it is, right?
Is that J.D. Salinger?
Yes. When it comes to cyberization, I'm pretty much the shining example of a poster boy. So you think at the very least I would have felt terrified at the thought of contracting cyberbrain sclerosis. I'll tell you, it was a simple piece of mail I stumbled across the net that began this whole thing. What I found was a blackmail document that had probably been sent to survival genomics. It was armed with a thesis that was a comparative study of the inadequacy of survival micromachines versus the effectiveness of the mRNA vaccine.
Then the original lagging man was the person who authored it.
You could put it like that, I suppose. I am the machine that reveals the world to you as only I alone am able to see it.
Zita Vertov. He was a Russian filmmaker, wasn't he?
Yes. I was kidding myself by thinking it was my personal mission to prove and circulate that information, vital data I alone could happen upon.
Failing spectacularly, the pure innocent mediator proved dejected at the base nature of the social system and he turned mute.
Yes. It was because of that I became a vanishing mediator. Just like an author whose existence is emphasized with the fact that he rarely puts out any new works for publication. In other words, by disappearing, it acts as a catalyst in the social system. Our sociological theory, it ultimately vanishes, leaving no trace of its presence inside or outside the system.
Frederick Jameson, I believe.
Yes. And no. Masachi Osawa, too. Even though I was familiar with the words, I didn't believe it until I saw it with my own eyes. Who knew that copies could still be produced despite the absence of an original? If you had to give a name to this phenomenon, what would you label it?
It would be standalone complex.
Yes, it's the standalone complex. From the start, the very nature of our current social system has contained mechanisms to trigger such an amazing occurrence. Personally, however, I feel this marks the beginning of a new era of despair. What's your opinion?
I don't know. It's impossible for me to say. Although I have found one thing capable of restoring your individuality after all your information has been synchronized.
Oh, really? And what's that?
Everyday human curiosity.
You're right. You know, that's something that never occurred to me. I think my brain has already started to harden.
All right, welcome everybody to another crazy shite. And you know we got more crazy shite for you today. All right, folks. Welcome to another crazy shite. I know most of you are probably either hungover or some kind of over or something, tired or whatever, but I figured since I was going to be home today and there's nothing open on New Year's Day, usually around me, might as well do a stream, and it's Monday, so here we are doing crazy shite. I felt like we had to finally go over this, so in the future it would be easier for us to talk about it because we'd have a little bit more background on the subject. So let's do the disclaimers and the intro, and then bring everybody in, and then talk to side chat, and then get started.
Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers, commentators, experts, and/or hosts. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the channel's policy or the views held by this channel or broadcaster. The broadcaster or its channel cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
It's just like Killer Cop 4, but she's got Hema instead of fry cook balls. I need you, Action Bastard! Action Bastard, I need you! Action Bastard, I need you! Why am I wasting time dancing?
You want to know why? Because the world is fucking flat, dog. And everything that you see up there, as far as like planets or stars, yeah, guess what, dude? It's fucking fake. It's just lights up there. The government put those lights up there so you dummies could just act like there's something up there.
Wait a second, are you a flat earther?
Call a crackhead.
You're stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're stupid. All right, let's bring in our co-host.
Some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
Yes, I guess you're right.
And how
Yes.
is the brainless?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
I did sleep until like 2 in the afternoon here. But
Good.
well, you can exactly look at what time I went to sleep. Because the last thing I did when I was going to sleep was wish you a happy new year, because that was after 12 o'clock for you. So that,
Yeah.
to be clear for everybody, that's 8 o'clock for me.
Yeah.
I even joined the last bit of Lizard's stream last night.
Jeez. All right.
Yeah, I was just getting tired. I was popping in the side chat there, and like a mango was dropping off, and he was like, "Oh, Brandon's gonna fill that spot." And then they twisted my words so that it seemed like I said that that I was filling Mango's gaping hole a little bit.
Nice.
Fuckers.
Yep. All right, let's bring the rest of our guests.
Did we have guests?
War never changes. And we are the Galactic Penguin Federation, NASA's enforcers. We rain fire on our enemies and fight hand to hand across the galaxy. We are ever seen, yet we are never seen in our fight for liberty. We will kick down any door and fight any secret societies.
I knew it. She's a lizard person.
My name, Commander 401. And this is how we handle our problems.
You gotta step up and beat that bully with a stick.
All right. How are you both?
Really, really good.
Awesome. Good to hear.
Hello. I'm doing well too. How are you guys doing?
Woke up from a sugar coma.
Sugar coma.
That's way better than what I woke up from. I am a little hungover, but other than that, good.
You look much better than you did on the brunch, though.
Yeah, I went and took a shower.
You came in there. You came in there like, oh my fucking god!
Yes.
Like you just set up out of bed. I was like, let's turn on my camera.
That's pretty much what happened to some extent. I woke up, got up, and I looked and I was like, oh my god, he's fucking streaming. I literally just got up and just set up everything and then just sat down and started. So, yeah. I did my hair and everything. So, all right. Well, let's say hello to the side of my chats. How are you doing, Al?
You already said hi, but
okay. I just wanted to just make sure that we said how's he doing as well.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just getting ready for one more New Year's celebration before I go back to work.
Okay. All right.
Poor boy.
All right, so let's say hello to the demons.
Hey, demon.
We got a Drewzilla.
Hey, Drewzilla.
JT.
Hello,
Hey.
JT.
If anybody else is here and wants to say hello to us, please do that. We love seeing and hearing from the side chat. If you want to just be a lurker, that is totally fine with us as well. If you would like to see, go ahead.
I noticed the avatar JT telling us, hey, losers. Let me see if he's got a wrench. Never mind.
Do they?
I was going to say something, but it turned out it's okay.
Okay, all right. So let's get into the insanity. Let's begin.
I thought you were gonna come into me, but okay. Let's go into the insanity then.
Yep.
Used to be Kevin. Okay.
Okay. I figured and I figured that the way that you said, hey, losers like that, like we probably knew who you were. There's not very many trolls that come in and just blatantly say that up front. But sure. Yeah, okay. Nice to see you.
Well, and they were blue, so
yeah.
Blue is usually a safe bet.
Yeah. So Gavin the Kitty. So you used to be Gavin the Kitty? Is that what you used to be go by? Or just Gavin? Is it Gavin the Kitty Cat or something like that? Is that what it was or is? Or
I don't know.
Okay. Well, never mind.
All right. And we got a knobhead. Doorknob hat.
Hey, doorknob. So
Kevin Tobeans. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That rings a bell.
He's not a racist, and
he's a good boy.
He's a good boy, And there's something else, but I don't remember. But that's okay.
He's
It's okay.
He's not a racist.
He's not a racist because he hates watermelon. Yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, let's begin in this insanity. We have gone over young Earth creationism multiple times and over young Earth creationists. But here is the beginning of why they began believing this, and there was a start from it, and it wasn't just like people like Kent Hovind or Eric or the other douche nozzles that are the young Earth creationists. So, all right, Al. So let's begin getting.
Hey, bye, guys. I'll listen again later.
Yeah.
Have
Okay.
a good show,
Good
guys.
luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Later. Have a good dinner.
Yeah, thanks.
It isn't against the law to hate watermelon. No, well, it should be. So it's all right. So let's dive into this.
Many people today think that the belief that the Earth is 6,000 years old is an essential belief of Christianity.
All right, so it's only 25 minutes long, and we're going to keep it at normal. How long do you think it's going to take for us to get through this? Side chat, start putting in bets. How long is it going to take us to get through a 25-minute video?
25. I'd say at least 2 hours.
Okay, well, here we go.
If we even get to the end.
We got a 2.5. Hey, one of my goals is to try to get to the end of most things. We have a 35 hours from the hooves. Hey, hooves.
Hey, hooves, dumbass.
So here we go.
The Bible teaches that the Earth is young, and some Christians only started to reinterpret Genesis after modern scientific advances demonstrated that the Earth was billions of years old. But you might be surprised to find out that this is a caricature of the truth. Several Christians in the past didn't believe the Earth was necessarily young, and some that did still interpreted Genesis figuratively or allegorically. In fact, the modern young Earth movement is relatively new and has a peculiar origin many people are not aware of.
So it's new, but not new. Because like I always assumed it was like just like very recent, since we can carbon date and shit like that. And I think maybe it's around there, but I was thinking it was more like recent than
Yeah,
I
probably
didn't think it
something
was
like
an
that.
ancient. I didn't think it was an ancient thing because like I don't know.
Because you're a dumbass.
Well, and it makes sense that they began pushing this once we were able to start using DNA and carbon testing and all this stuff, and we can prove that these things weren't dinosaurs from the medieval times and that they were from much older times.
And to be more correct, if you're going to go off Bible literalism when you're saying how old the Earth is, and this actually makes it worse, but this is the actual, if you do all the math, 5,784. So they don't even know their own
Math?
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't even do their own math? Oh,
And
that's a waste of money.
But they do meth, allegedly.
Oh, oh yeah.
Meth. Anyways, let's see. And yes, thank you for saying that, Commander. And they will get into those numbers in a second, or at some point when they're talking about how these idiots came up with the number of how old the Earth is.
You know what? I'm gonna.
The National Center for Science Education defines young Earth creationism as the idea which requires that the Earth be.
Actually, this channel is anti-conspiracy theory. They're actually telling us like where the weird stuff came from, and to the best of my knowledge, they're pro science. Let me double check. Yeah, inspiring philosophy. So I believe that they are a for science, or for realism or real life stuff.
They're for discussion, apparently, like
be no more than
philosophy, like
10,000 years old.
Yeah,
And that
well,
the 6 days
philosophy's
of
a
creation
little,
described in
but
Genesis each lasted for 24 hours.
okay.
This is what we see with modern young earth creationist organizations. Answers in Genesis states on
So
their
here's
website that creation took place in 4004 BC.
Jesus
Creation
Christ.
Ministries International and the Institute for Creation Research also have articles on their websites stating that the earth is roughly 6,000 years old.
Yeah, roughly 6,000.
Yeah, 6,000. My fucking ass.
Jesus.
Considerably older by many orders of magnitude.
Nah, just a little bit. Just
so-
about the same difference as me and Pip. You know, like me like being just 40 and Pip being like over 80.
Yeah. we can prove by how big her black hole is. She's much older. Anyways,
Anyway.
There's so many examples on the earth right now that prove that the earth is older than 6,000. Bro, why didn't you even go to like 60,000 or something? But of course, they're literalists and they take everything literal, and it's so fucking crazy about that because
they are literalists that can't even do the math to find out the correct wrong date.
Wrong date.
And it's the thing about flat earthers, they don't understand size.
So
no, hey,
I have encountered some
we all
young
know
earth
why.
creation-
Yeah, because never mind. Yes, we know. Well, at least we know
Baby
most of
carrot.
the reason why for the flat earthers.
Baby
Because
carrot.
yeah. Micro penis syndrome. Let's put it that way. Allegedly,
who state that the world is a bit older, based on a literal reading of the Greek Septuagint. But they still tend to
Greek
fall into the definition of
Septuagint?
stating
What?
that the Earth is less than 10,000 years old. And most seem to state that it's roughly 6,000 years old.
oh my God, do not show this to any flat earther. They'll think it's fucking real.
Well, that is real. That is a good representation. That's just that's just
Azimuthal.
that's just
I'm
the northern
sorry.
hemisphere. That's just
It's
the
the
top view of the
azimuthal-
globe.
It's the azimuthal equidistant projection,
Yeah.
missing
it
the
is-
southern hemisphere.
Yeah, and it is not correct. It is. It's really. It's a nice representation of thingies, kind of.
Well, it's
But
just
it
a view top down from the North Pole. So I guess this one is much more accurate.
I don't know. But whatever. It doesn't matter.
And the common belief among many non-Christians today is that this is how Christians read the Bible until modern science demonstrated that the Earth was 4.6 billion years old. Answers in Genesis also helps by pushing this myth. On their website, Dr. James R. Mook writes, "What did the early church believe about creation? In its first 16 centuries, the church held to a young Earth. Earth was several thousand years old, was created quickly in 6 24-hour days, and was later submerged under a worldwide flood." Mook goes on to contradict himself by listing Christians from the past that did not hold to this interpretation. And additionally, when we dive into the history, we can see there were more Christians than even he acknowledges. Many Christians, long before the advent of modern geology and biology, didn't read the data.
Wait. How did they get that flat Earth inside of that other land? I knew there was lands outside of the flat Earth. Oh my God! It's so easy.
Borgie.
So easy to make fun of this. Yeah.
Of Genesis literally, and some allowed for the Earth to be older than 10,000 years old. In the 2nd century AD, St. Irenaeus of Lyons wrote a book responding to Gnostic heretics. The various Gnostic sects believe the God of the Old Testament is a different God from Jesus. It was not actually the ultimate creator of all things. Often they would argue that God was evil and lied to Adam and Eve, because the Gnostics read Genesis 2 to mean that God told Adam that if they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, that Adam would die the same day he ate of it.
Uh-oh, we showed boobs and butts. Uh-oh, we're canceled. We showed animated ones. Is that even better?
No, but
Which
these
they
are religious drawings, so
Oh, so
they'll
that's okay
probably
then all of a sudden
recognize
for no
that
reason?
as being okay, you know?
Is it okay if we show elf boobies? Is that what's happening in the tree? Anyways.
thus interpreting the word for day to mean a literal 24-hour day. But in Genesis 3, it is clear Adam and Eve did not die on the same day that they ate from the tree. St. Irenaeus responded by stating that the days in Genesis were not literal 24-hour days, by drawing from 2 Peter 3:8, where it says a day is 1,000 years to the Lord. Since Adam did not live more than 1,000 years, God did not lie when he said Adam would die on the same day that he ate. However, St. Irenaeus also states he thought the days of Genesis 1 were also 1,000-year periods.
Yeah, that's one of the interpretations of God making the earth and the world and the universe in 8 days. Is that or 7 technically, because what, he rested on the 8th or something? Yeah, so whatever.
No,
Yeah,
rested on the 7th.
sure, whatever. I don't fucking remember. But yeah.
6 days and rested on the 7th. That's what it says.
Okay.
But luckily, we got an expert with us, right, Commander?
Well, before I got fed up with it and went back to the synagogue, I did think about becoming a preacher, but then I said, why do I need all those headaches?
Yeah. So in 2021, scorpions roused by a freak storm stung and hospitalized hundreds in Egypt. The storm unleashed a deluge in Aswan, a city where it had been hardly ever seen rain. Interesting. That's proof of God, right? It's a plague. Anyways. All right, so let's keep blowing on with so there were already people who were interpreting the Bible as that the first even 7 days or 6, him making it whatever. It may have taken that they say yes, many thousands of years or blah blah blah. So they don't even know how long it would have taken for God to make the earth. Yeah, and these are like
Couple of million
allegories
years,
and poems
apparently.
and things that were written down so that people could understand them and take them in, and even if they had no schooling, it would make sense to them.
For in as many days as this world was made, in so many thousand years shall it be concluded. And for this reason the scripture says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all their adornment. And God brought to a conclusion upon the 6th day the works that he had made, and God rested upon the 7th day from all his works.
Yeah, okay.
This is an account of the things formerly created, as also it is a prophecy of what is to come. For the day of the Lord is as 1,000 years, and in 6 days created things were completed.
It takes 1,000 years for God to come? Jesus Christ. I thought other people were hard to get off. The son of a bitch, God.
But then again, like,
It is
he has
evident,
seen
therefore.
everything.
Oh, yeah. So once he's seen everything, it's like, yeah, how are you going to get me off? I've already had the double reach around patty cake up the bum and whatever.
That they will come to an end at the 6,000 year. Irenaeus thought that each day of creation was 1,000 years, meaning on his view, the earth would be roughly 12,000 years. Technically speaking, he would not qualify as a young earth creationist, since he states the age of the earth was over 10,000 years, but only in a technical sense. However, the important point to take away from this is St. Irenaeus didn't think one had to interpret the days of Genesis 1 as literal 24-hour days, meaning the chapter was open to interpretation in the 2nd century AD, and doesn't necessarily have to mean the earth is only 6,000 years old. And St. Irenaeus is not alone in this understanding. St. Justin Martyr also seems to agree on this reading of the days as being
His name had martyr in it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I think that probably happened after he became a saint.
Okay, because I'm like, dude, you were just asking, or somebody's asking for you to get murdered. I mean, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, if
After
you
that,
call your kid that, like, yeah, it's kind of
I
asking
get
for it.
Yeah, if you get sainthood and then they put that on the end, then that makes sense.
being 1,000 years. Holding to a different interpretation, Clement of Alexandria also did not believe that creation took place in 6 24-hour days. He seemed to have believed all things were created instantly in the past.
Dude, what is up with your head, bro? Jesus Christ.
He'd be one of them alien hybrids.
Yeah, no shit.
He escaped from the middle of the earth.
Jesus Christ, bro. I hope I hope they just painted your head that big, and it really wasn't that big.
They probably painted it that big because he was considered wise or something.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I'm
he's
guessing as
big-brained.
well. Yeah.
And that the days of Genesis 1 are figurative, ordering which creations were the most important to God. The longer the day, the more important whatever was listed on that day. Clement may have gotten this interpretation from a contemporary of Jesus. The Jewish philosopher Philo of Alexandria also advocated for an instantaneous creation, and that the days of Genesis 1 were figurative. This instantaneous interpretation of Genesis was also promoted by other church fathers, like St. Athanasius the Great, Origen, St. Augustine, and others. St. Augustine taught the days of Genesis 1 were not sun-divided days, but God-divided days, and that all 6 days of Genesis 1 are called one day in Genesis 2:4, where it states, "In the day that the Lord God made the heavens and the earth." Thus the days, according to his reading of Genesis 1 and 2, were not literal 24-hour days.
Yeah.
Could have been hours.
It follows, therefore, that he, who created all things together simultaneously.
Well, they're saying that they think in God's time that it could be gazillions of years or blah blah blah.
Maybe God's time is fluent. Like at some point, a day for God is like 1,000,000 years for us, and maybe at other times, a day for God is 1 second for us. Who knows?
Exactly.
Well,
that would give you so much leeway in interpreting anything like that.
Maimonides said that if you believe everything that's written in the Bible literally, you're an idiot. But if you don't believe something, like it's a mix of history and bullshit and exaggeration. So it's a mixed bag because it was never intended to do what the Christians do with it.
Yeah, it was made to be a bunch of stories, not myths, fables, allegories, poems, all of the above, so that you could read it, especially like in church, to people in a way that's palatable. And that's what it's made for. That's what like the gospel is it's made to put into a setting to give people the information or get it to them, because people, to the best of our knowledge, a lot of people back in the olden days couldn't read very much. In Catholicism, you're not supposed to actually read the Bible. You're supposed to find out what it says from your priest.
Yeah,
saint?
they didn't. Your priest told you what the Bible said in Latin, and he wasn't actually allowed to tell you in your native tongue. So you needed to know Latin to tell exactly what the heck he was saying, and they didn't stop that bullshit until the 20th century. And that was one of the things about the Protestant Reformation, is that the Protestants said, well, let's put this in our own language. And when you go from language to language, you lose some things. Like when Jesus says, those who know to do good and do it not, to him it is sin. And then you go to the Greek words, the Greek word, I forget what the Greek word is, but you trace it back into the Septuagint, and it's the root of that word is Zedek, or related to Zedekah, which there basically means compulsory charity, and that's something that European aristocracy didn't like. So that's just an example.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hey, Canadian.
Hey, Canadian.
And what the beck?
I saw. What the beck?
Okay, all right. You can double their faith from what they have now if they just stop putting the human mask on things. Yes. All right.
Created these 6 days or 7, or rather the one day 6 or 7 times repeated. Why then was there any need for the 6 distinct days to be set forth in the narrative one after the other? The reason is that those who cannot understand the meaning of the text, he created all things together, cannot arrive at the meaning of Scripture unless the narrative proceeds solely step by step.
Okay.
In other words,
Yeah.
St. Augustine believed the days of Genesis 1 were not 6 24-hour days, but part of the narrative structure of Genesis 1. So one didn't have to take Genesis 1 to be explaining how creation literally happened. Now, these early church fathers, who believed in an instantaneous creation and took Genesis 1 figuratively, were still technically young earth creationists, since they didn't state that the earth was more than 6,000 years old. But the point being, they didn't have to hold to the idea that the earth was 6,000 years old because of a plain or literal reading of Genesis 1. There were different ways to interpret the chapter where it was read figuratively. The belief one can have a non-literal reading of Genesis isn't a modern idea. It was present in the days of the early church fathers. Non-literal readings of Genesis didn't disappear in the Middle Ages.
Whoa, that's tricky
William of
looking.
Conches, for example, advocated for a non-literal reading of Genesis as well. In fact, he went so far as to argue that Adam was not instantaneously created from dust. Instead, he argued the underlying truth being taught in the passage was that humans could possibly have come about from natural elements working together. So in his view, Genesis 2 was possibly suggesting humanity could have come about from a natural process that God imbued in creation.
Yeah.
Robert Grosseteste followed St. Augustine in believing the 6 days of Genesis were metaphorical. His view was that God created life.
Evolution, yeah. At least some people were smart enough to figure out there's a way to connect
and that
them.
is even before they even knew what evolution was.
Yeah. Everybody say hello to Skits and McCasher.
Hello, Skits.
Skits,
How you doing?
How
And
you
happy
doing,
New
buddy?
Year. And of course, we play this because they're our channel sponsor. Nice. All right. Welcome. Hopefully, you had a good New Year's. I'm still dealing with this hangover, but other than that, I'm good. Let's see. Let's get into Robert. I'm not even gonna try to say that motherfucking last name, even though I know they just said it, but I was not paying attention enough.
Light and matter, which would then over time bring about the rest of creation.
Yeah.
This is not to say this was the dominant view in the Middle Ages. Historian Michael Roberts says, in 1550, few questioned the biblical age of the earth. Isaac Newton and Johannes Kepler were two who agreed with the famous Bishop Ussher that the date of creation was only around 4000 BC. However, at the time, the scientific research was very limited on the investigation of the age of the earth. These men held to these dates because the research of the time supported it.
Okay.
Michael Roberts puts it like this. Since before 1760, there was little in the way of evidence for an ancient earth. It is as absurd to cavil at Ussher, Calvin, or Aquinas for not dating the earth at 4.6 billion years as to cavil at Darwin for not knowing about genetics.
Yeah.
But even before the rise of modern geology or astronomy, Roberts notes there was a great diversity in how theologians interpreted Genesis. In fact,
hey,
Bishop
Mr.
Ussher's
Green.
notorious date.
Let's see.
I think
Hello, tiny captain.
I think you need to restart your camera.
Yeah.
I'm busy with it.
Okay.
Okay. No worries.
He's getting busy with it. Giggity.
Okay.
My apologies.
Was never official doctrine.
Sorry,
Ryer
hotel
Huikas.
Wi-Fi is always tricky.
Yes. All right.
noted that John Calvin's accommodating commentary on Genesis allowed for many later Protestants to accept the findings of the sciences that were to come. Calvin stressed Genesis was not a book on astronomy, and that Moses accommodated himself to the limitations of human understanding of the time. Apart from this, many Christians from this time period also began promoting something similar to the gap interpretation of Genesis. When Genesis reads that the earth was without form and void, many saw this as an unspecified amount of time of chaos that was created by God while the earth existed. Then God reworked the chaos of the earth into creation in 6 days. Some suggested this period of chaos was millions of years. Some, like Thomas Burnet, even added that the 6 days of creation were periods of 1,000 years, rather than literal 24-hour days.
Again,
William Hobbes suggested the days of creation could have been unspecified periods. This was known as the chaos restitution interpretation, and it was the dominant view of the time, even accepted by men such as Immanuel Kant, John Wesley, and John Milton.
Wait, what's his name? Oh, never mind. Sorry.
Robert says,
John.
The chaos
Yeah, that's the name that I was freaking out about. Not Kant.
Restitution interpretation.
Sorry. I was just going to say Immanuel Kant is the man from where all our empathetic humanisms come from.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Good point.
Was adopted by most commentators in the 18th century. By the time the science of geology was developing and revealing the earth was billions of years old, very few theologians actually opposed this idea. Bishop Ussher's date of creation had little influence on the church and was mostly ignored. Most believed the discoveries of geology were completely compatible with Genesis. In fact, Nicholas Rupke notes historical geology countered the eternalism of Enlightenment deism, and in particular, the theory of an eternal present expressed in the famous maxim of the Scottish naturalist James Hutton: we find no vestige of a beginning.
Hey.
So Christians...
Yo,
mofo.
Hello, Ollyman.
What's going on?
Well, we're looking at
Stupidity.
Creationists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I said, stupidity.
Well, there's many forms of stupidity.
Yeah.
You got young Earth creationists. You've got flat Earth. You got soft sits. So, got to be a bit more specific.
There's such an overwhelming amount of evidence for the age of the Earth that this is just entertaining. This is hard.
But that's the same with the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, I know. But there's
we're
even more for this, I think.
We're not even getting. We're just delving now into the modern versions of this, or why there's modern young Earth creationists still. We're just getting into how it's modern.
We got something fruity in the side chat.
Oh, one thing.
You're echoing like a mug, Tiny.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm setting up in a hotel room. Actually, in Canada. So, Ollie is not the only Canadian person in Canada now.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. You're right.
There's more than one person in Canada.
There's 2 people in Canada.
No,
there's at least 2
in this live stream. Is it this better?
No, it's still.
You are echoing weird, Tiny. That's weird.
You may need to put in headphones or something.
I have my headphones in.
Oh, now it's good. Say something again.
Okay, I have my headphones in.
Yeah, you're good. You're golden now. You're golden. I don't.
You just had to tell the computer that you had your headphones in.
No, I had to adjust the echo setting on my mic.
Ah, you had intentional echo on your mic.
What are you doing? Some weird espionage stuff where you got to like fucking mask your voice and shit? He's got like voice modulators over there, and did I give it away? God damn it!
It's just give it away.
Give it away. Give it away.
I know.
Give it away now.
Okay, so now we're getting into the more modern about young Earth creationists.
Not only embraced geology, they used it to refute anti-Christian ideas of an eternal Earth without a beginning point. In fact, Rupke goes on to note the ironic point that some of the arguments used by Charles Lyell to promote his steady-state model of the Earth were picked up and used by young Earth creationists to attack modern geology. By 1785, Reverend James Douglas promoted that the Earth was created in 6 expanses of time instead of 6 days. And in 1865, Reverend Richard Maine wrote, "Some schoolbooks still teach to the ignorant that the Earth is 6,000 years old. No well-educated person of the present day shares that delusion." At this point in history, very few Christians who had left writings behind held to a young Earth creationist view. Thus, Roberts concludes his work. Christian thinkers were open to a slightly longer timescale long before geological evidence was apparent. Despite the date of 4004 BC being in many English Bibles, a strict 6-day creation was never the dominant view, and was the official position of no church in Europe or America until the late 20th century. Recent studies also point out that most early Christian responses to Darwin were not because of a literal reading of Genesis. In fact, many Christians saw no conflict between a theory of evolution and Genesis. But
yeah, because there is a way to link it together. Is the Bible true? No, but if you
with the interpretation that that other guy said, like it could been like natural elements come together to create life. Like that's basically what happened. So
Wait a minute. I am myself not religious, but I can't say if the Bible stories are true or not. They are exaggerated, yes. But if the stories are true or not, I don't know.
Okay, sure.
I can't,
maybe
some of them are, and some of them are exaggerated, and some of them are bullshit outright.
Yeah, I can't disprove or prove them.
Well, the problem is nobody can really prove them.
The real religious things about the miracles, I can't disprove or prove them. So, yeah, for the people that want to believe, it is counting for every religion at the same time.
If I might interrupt you just for a second, the burden of proof lies on the claim, so there's no need to disprove them. Okay, they have to be proven first.
For the people who are religious, be religious. I don't care. It's their belief, and it's a belief. The word belief, it already says so. And which belief ever, I respect them all. I can't disprove or prove any religion or whatever. So
I'm not saying you can or can't. I'm just saying there's no need to disprove.
No,
that's you should be able to drop that out of your statement altogether.
Yeah, and then anyways,
I mean, I respect all religion. If they want to believe something, let them.
It's only when people are taking other people's
sometimes
money
those
as
beliefs
grifts
can be harmful.
And
extremists. I don't like extremists.
Yeah, that's the time.
So, like, take for example the Catholic Church hiding pedophile priests. That's harmful.
Yes,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean with extremists.
So,
and I get what you mean, right?
Normal spiritual person or religious people, fuck yeah, all day long, do you?
Yeah,
because then I get to do me, or do whatever I want. That's not what we're talking about. That's part of what we're talking about here is for this is the extremist version, because that's what these young creations are. They're taking these things to a weird, crazy extreme that potentially could be harming people. Because if you teach a kid most of their life young Earth creationism, and then they get into like college somehow, or they do get into the
exactly
school system, then all of a sudden they're fucked.
My point is,
or they demand that the educational institutions bend over to their beliefs, and then all of a sudden there's one video on Thunderfoot, probably more than a decade ago. You couldn't teach they were running out of people in one state because you literally could not teach about radioactive decay in state colleges at the time because it went against the Bible.
Jesus Christ, that's fucking crazy.
So
But I
nuclear
believe it.
medicine was being affected.
I didn't realize like how recently they had been teaching young earth creationism in so many states. Now it's very few places. It's usually religious private schools and stuff like that that are doing it. But there it was taught. I don't remember who was interviewing somebody's grandma or something like that, and she was like, "Yeah, I remember in elementary school being taught the Earth was 6,000 years old." It's like, damn, that's not that long ago. Yeah, crazy stuff. The semantics argument. Yeah, totes. All right, Mango, you have a link if you want to join us if you can.
Mango can always join, right?
And what I wanted to say, I completely agree with Ollie, and I completely agree with you, Slim. It's the extremists. That's the problem.
Yeah, of course, and that's what we're talking about. Totes
Yeah.
is extremists, hex extremists. No, just kidding. So let's learn more about evolution. Actually, this is teaching us a good amount about evolution, but that's of course what we kind of have to go over when we're watching this. So here we go.
Botanist Asa Gray promoted Darwinian evolution. James McCosh and James Dwight Dana also accepted evolution. The paleontologist Richard Owen and zoologist St. George Jackson Mivart promoted their own form of theistic evolution. Theologian B.B. Warfield described himself as a pure Darwinist, as well as a Christian fundamentalist. Theistic
Okay, so what we're
elevating the
going to
visions
do,
of their prophet.
we're going to just get into where young earth creationism in the modern times comes from. We'll just skip because we don't really need to know about all of those people who believe in that shite, really. We're watching this to find out where the origins act like, and why these idiots do believe in it still to this day is pretty much what we're doing. All right.
Ellen G. White to be on par with Scripture. The Seventh-day Adventists were a very charismatic group that broke off from the Millerite movement of the 19th century.
So the 19th
Their leader,
century.
Ellen G. White, claimed she received visions from God, where she was taken back to the creation week and saw that everything was created in 6 literal 24-hour days. Then the world was destroyed
because of a dream,
destroyed in a global flood that laid down the rock layers we now have. Among the Seventh-day Adventists was a man named George McReady Price, who was something of an
Did you see that? Oh my Jeebus. Okay, here, I'll go back. No relation to Kent Hovind.
How do you know? Could be.
I was like, why would we think that other than he looks like a douche? But anyways, yeah, that's fucking hilarious that they added that
Kent
in.
Hovind is what happens when cousins marry.
Exactly.
Price, who was something of an armchair geologist. He wrote several papers and books arguing the geological column was the result of Noah's flood. So all the rock layers that demonstrated the antiquity of the earth were really laid down during Noah's flood. He called this flood geology.
Except for like, there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of different versions of the different layers. And you know what I fucking heard? One of the I was gonna say flat Earth creationists. No, that mean young Earth creation. Probably the same thing, right? Young Earth creationist was talking about how would we get the layers to go up a mountain. They're like, that couldn't have happened over a lot of time, and or blah blah blah. The only way to say is a flood for some way, shape, or form doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like,
nah.
They were like, they can't bend the rock. It's like, yeah, they technically can. Heat and pressure and friction will cause things to heat up, and then they turn into almost a liquid.
Friction helps heat things
And
up.
especially like that's one of the last phases that they're going through as well, right? So they could be more liquidy, or they could have been more like rock pieces. And then the more that you push on them, like a diamond, and the more that you friction, rub them and then move them around through earthquakes and tight plates moving, tectonic plates, yeah. And then you can cause those things to be able to do crazy weird things and come up with weird crazy patterns. And that was the other thing he was saying, these patterns inside of the rocks were geometrical shapes only because God wanted to put them there. It's like, no, we can prove there's a reason why when those rocks went through that process, they left this pattern that was there later. It was something about the tubes. Oh, it was that fucking dumbass dude. God damn it. He was saying the lava tubes were leaving these different shapes that look like trees that were being cut down. And oh my God, it was fucking insane. And that's why I was like, oh my God, we have to like go over young earth creationism. Because God, what is that TikToker's name? Fuck.
I've got
if there was a giant flood, the Dutch would look up towards the opening of a giant well and thought, well,
Is
let's
it the
screw it up
mud
with the
flood
daylight.
bullshit?
Yes, he's talking about the mud flood. He's talking about
Well,
yeah. Anyways, let's keep going.
We probably would have put
He
a
also
dike
thought
around
the
it.
Earth was only 6,000 years
No,
old,
no.
and everything was created in 6 days. Many arguments modern young Earth creationists
Caleb, I
use
was thinking
date
of.
back.
So Caleb has been putting up stuff about the freaking Jesus.
And brainless, we would have put up dikes that were kilometers high that we were still without the flood. Yep.
Most definitely.
That's the Dutch.
Always putting up dikes. Anyways.
Getting wet. Call the Dutch.
Call the Dutch. They know how to
They know how to handle that when it's wet.
They know how to dam it up.
Yep.
We can have even work with wet dikes.
Yep.
You got some WAP. Call the Dutch. They'll fill it up. All right, here we go.
And if you have a wet dike, you have to put a finger in it.
Yes, you always finger a wet dike. Never mind. With permission,
never mind.
Finger a wet dike.
For instance, Price appears to be one
It's
of the
true
first
story,
to
though.
incorrectly claim the geological column was based on circular reasoning, where the rock layers were dated by their fossil content, and fossils were used to date rock layers. He also, like modern creationists, appealed to 2 Peter 3, where it talks about scoffers coming in the last days, and he interpreted this to being a reference to modern evolutionists. He also utilized Exodus 20:11 to argue the creation week had to be a normal 7-day week. He is the basis for other common creationist arguments, famously touted by Ken Ham and others. Price said, geologists and paleontologists looked at their facts through the colored spectacles of Darwin and Lyell. And likewise, creationists also look at the world through the lens of Scripture. Therefore, any data used to support evolution can also be used to support young Earth creationism. Price also promoted ideas that are not used by modern creationists, and some were quite racist.
Obviously. You're
We
muted.
can't hear you,
ass.
Slim.
God damn it. Well, okay, here we go. Let's get into the anti-Semitism. This is going to be fun. All right. And this is a major reasons why there's like a lot of white nationalists that are young Earth creationism and other things like that.
But doesn't religious extremism go hand in hand with racism? Any race.
Yeah, no, totes. Because if you believe in this, you believe in conspiracy theories most likely, and then you also believe in anti-Semitism.
If you believe that your people, that the world was made for your people, that you're better, like kind of pandemic racism.
No,
And it
racism
gets
and extremism
extreme.
is goes hand in hand.
It gets extremely ridiculous. And to give you an idea, there's something brewing here in America called the Black Israelites. I actually met one of them in a Burger King, and I started telling him about Operation David, about how when missionaries went to China, they wound up meeting Jewish communities in China who hadn't actually been, in contact with Jewish communities in the Middle East or Europe. And I was challenging his beliefs. And while I was willing to say that someone who is black could actually be a descendant of Israel, he was like, no, all you white Jews are imposters, blah, blah, blah. But when I was telling him that these people from China and Asia were recognized by the state of Israel, he had to contact someone on the phone and be filled with the most ridiculous hate imaginable.
Jesus, of course. Dude, that stuff is fucking scary. The Black Israelites, they believe in some fucking trippy ass, crazy, scary stuff because they're anti like everybody. And they think that, like you said, the imposter thing is a really weird thing that they believe in. Somehow,
The only reason I'm not Jewish is because my grandfather from my mother's side was Jewish, but his mother wasn't. So my mother isn't Jewish.
Okay.
If you have documentation, I think you still might be able to qualify for Aliyah easier than most people.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't. My position is every religion can be true or not be true. I cannot prove it, so I don't attack or support any beliefs. I respect them all.
Yeah. Okay. So
and that's my position.
Yes, that's what we all.
Yeah, I respect every religion, but I don't
except
respect
the
everybody that's
extremist
religious.
shitheads.
Yeah.
Extremist shitheads.
Okay. So
I don't
find
respect
out-
extremists. Yeah, that's why I'm hammering on extremists. I'm not respecting extremists.
Yes, of course. Okay, so here we blow.
He claimed that there was a rapid degradation after the Babel incident of Genesis 11.
Of course.
Which produced darker skin colors. This also produced Neanderthals, other hominids, and possibly even the great apes.
Because that makes sense.
But to Price's credit, unlike modern...
Wait, how would... Oh, Jesus Christ, these people don't understand timelines.
Creationists, he didn't claim the universe was
damn
6,000 years old, only that the Earth and life on it was. But this was because Ellen G. White claimed that she saw in her visions other planets with life that existed before Earth.
Visions.
So the Seventh-day Adventist creationists only argued for a young Earth, not a young universe. Ronald Numbers notes, Price's ideas were mostly rejected by the fundamentalists of his day. By the 1920s, Price had found few followers. Numbers says, before about...
So we're in the 1920s, and then now before the 1970s.
1970, the few disciples of Price, brave enough to enter graduate programs in geology, usually found evolution so pervasive they either abandoned geology or discarded flood geology. But all that changed in the coming decades.
Geology? Okay.
In 1954, Bernard Ramm wrote a book where he exaggerated the influence of Price and criticized Price's flood geology and the young Earth stance. The point of his book was to encourage Christians to abandon views like the gap theory and young Earth creationism and hold to progressive creationist interpretations. Unfortunately, Ramm's book had the opposite effect. The book sparked a young theologian named John Wickham Jr. to write his doctoral dissertation as a response and a defense of Price's young Earth views.
Okay.
After this, Whitcomb looked to get his dissertation made into a book. But publishers wouldn't take it up because Whitcomb had no scientific credentials.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So he sought out a scientist who would not only endorse his work, but would also co-author a book arguing for a young Earth.
Kent Hovind.
He sent his manuscript to geologists, all of which rejected the invitation, pointing out that geological evidence could not be used to support a young Earth. Eventually, Whitcomb contacted Henry Morris, who was not a geologist, but he did have a PhD in hydraulic engineering. Morris agreed to co-author the book.
So he knows how to run water through the earth. Okay. Yeah, you definitely know how to look at things.
But both Whitcomb and Morris were embarrassed to admit they were recycling many of Price's old arguments, because the scientific community had already considered Price's arguments and had rejected.
Hey, Q, and yeah, that's definitely it.
Hey, Q.
Young Earth creationists and flat earthers don't comprehend dimensions, or they don't understand length, width, and or measurement.
Dementia? What?
They don't do scale.
Yeah, they scales wrongs. That's definitely a thing. That's the problem with them. Poor CC and Flat Earth Dave and a handful of them. I mean, I feel so bad every time they like try to like do a fake scaled something, and you're just like, God damn it.
Fun fact, right?
You realize that orange is the new egg.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah,
Tim.
orange is.
If
Oh, that
the
is
Earth-
the awesome one! Orange
the-
is the egg.
I actually
If the
started that.
Earth-
Hashtag
Hold on,
orange
hold on,
is the
hold
new
on.
egg.
Hold on. Go ahead, Commander.
If the Earth was a perfect sphere, a granite inspection plate over a certain distance, over a granite inspection plate has more curve than the Earth would. The Earth is still curved, but the Earth is so damn big, a inspection grade granite surface plate has more curve on it.
Exactly. And that's what they don't understand for sure. Goddamn, people are. It's. I wish I had the thing. This is small. They're far away.
Yeah.
It's difficult to scales when one is against the reptilians. Yes, ha ha ha. That's a good one.
No, what is it?
So they worked to distance themselves from Price, while utilizing many of his arguments for a young Earth. However, they also argued the universe was young, being that they were not followers of Ellen G. White, and put forward many arguments creationists still use today, like the idea that before the flood, there was a great vapor canopy that surrounded the Earth and created the long lifespans listed in Genesis 5, and was responsible for altering modern radiometric carbon-14 dating.
I've never heard this before. I've heard everything else that they've said here, but so we have to listen to that again for sure. Oh my Jeebus. Okay, here we go. God damn it. Fuck.
Its creation is still used today, like the idea that before the flood, there was a great vapor canopy that surrounded the Earth and created the long lifespans listed in Genesis 5, and was responsible for altering modern radiometric carbon-14 dating. At the time, they could not find.
Okay, so are they saying that people actually lived longer, or they're saying that they lived long, but they can't prove it because carbon dating? What was it that they didn't live long?
They're claiming that the vapor canopy, which is unspecified, fucked up the carbon dating, while at the same time it made people live longer. And the claims on this get weird because there's like this one Hovind video where he is saying, and there was an ice shell all over the Earth. And then you do the thermodynamic calculations to find out, well, when that ice shell broke, how much energy would be released, and it would be like you'd boil the Earth many times over.
Okay.
So they seem to say there's a magic unexplained power that frees time and make time in the on the other way go faster, and that was simultaneously happening, and now we are here. Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't make any
Completely
sense. How is
logic. Yep.
How is water gonna do that? I mean, that's fucking crazy.
Well,
All right, here we
yeah.
go.
Well, they said vape.
Find a geologist.
Oh, that's true. It could have been
Ma-
vapor or
ma-
fucking
flood
anything.
wasn't
I don't
water.
know. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
To review and endorse the book. But nonetheless, they went forward, and in 1961, the Genesis flood was published. Experts familiar with Price were quick to catch that the book was simply rehashing many of Price's old arguments. Whitcomb and Morris, instead of being dragged into the scientific debate, stated the real issue is not the correctness of the interpretation of various details of the geological data, but simply what God has revealed in his word concerning these matters. Despite the scientific community rejecting their thesis, there wasn't a strong effort to pass this message on to the populace that lacked the scientific knowledge. And in the first decade, the book sold around 10,000 copies. And in 25 years, it sold around 200,000 copies.
Jesus, okay.
Morris and Whitcomb became celebrities and were invited to travel around the world to speak at various colleges, churches, and conferences, promoting their young Earth interpretation. Soon after the publication of the book, the Creation Research Society was formed. They could not find a geologist to join their cause, but Clifford Burdick.
Surprise, surprise.
Research is our middle name. That's what they fucking use as their tagline. Jesus. Yeah, it's your middle name because you don't fucking your first and last is bull and shit.
Had some training in earth sciences. And
Nobody can claim that I didn't do my own research. I just brought a research vessel to Canada.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay. No, but now, Slim, you said bull and shit were their first name. No,
I know.
Their first name.
Okay.
Is pseudo.
Okay.
And last name science. Pseudoscience research.
Yeah. Totes.
Joined the committee. Morris also helped to form the Institute for Creation Research, which still promotes young Earth creationism to this day, and in part helped to give rise to Creation Ministries International and Answers in Genesis. By the 1990s, the word creationist became a term synonymous with young Earth creationist.
This interpretation of Genesis, which had been a tiny minority position among anti-evolutionists in the 1920s, almost entirely limited to the small Seventh-day Adventist community, became by the 1970s the very definition of creationism.
Jesus.
If one said he or she were creationist in the middle 1970s, friend and foe alike would have assumed that that person was a young Earth creationist.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying there were no young Earth creationists before the Seventh-day Adventists. As we noted earlier, in centuries past, many believed the Earth was relatively young. But with the rise of fields like geology and paleontology, the majority of Christians that left writings behind abandoned young Earth ideas.
And back in the day, why, in medieval times or other times like that, why would you even care or understand how old the Earth is? You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't even understand that concept, really. So nobody.
It wouldn't matter to you because you're too busy trying to eat and not die from war.
Yeah, and or anything, starving to death, food poison, anything. There's so many things that you were more worried about than, how long has the Earth been around? So yeah, I mean that's one of the major things. It's just it's a more recent
cute
thing.
neighbor.
A bunch of rich people can sit around and ponder that stuff.
Writers before the rise of modern science based their dating of the Earth on the most up-to-date research of the time. The Christian reaction to the rise of modern science was at first mostly welcoming. It wasn't until the 20th century that many driven by fear that paleontology and evolution would do away with the Bible that the modern creationist movement began. At first, the anti-evolutionists were mostly old Earth creationists.
Okay,
But over time,
1920s.
as evolution became more supported by the evidence, and the anti-evolutionist push seemed to be gaining little ground, my suspicion is the reaction to evolution became more fanatic, and so many
Yeah.
Christians began looking for alternatives to the old Earth approaches that may have seemed like compromises to many laymen. But the modern movement did not come from an official church interpretation of Genesis that was dogmatically accepted before Darwin.
Creation
It
Ministries.
was simply eroding
Ancestors
away in light of modern
Genesis.
sciences.
Jesus.
It stems from Seventh-day Adventist apologists who based their belief in a young Earth on the visions of Ellen G. White. Long before Darwin, Christians were interpreting Genesis in a plethora of different ways. The age of the Earth was not a huge issue until very recently.
Yes.
So despite the claim from organizations like Answers in Genesis, they are not defending something that was pivotal to Christianity and undisputed before Darwin. Christianity has always been compatible with multiple interpretations of Genesis, and the modern dogmatic adherence to a young Earth really traces back to the visions of an alleged prophetess.
Alleged.
Oh, right. We actually got through the fucking video.
Wow. We
Like
didn't
I
1.5 hours.
Like I said, we're going to begin trying to finish videos from now on. Even if it takes us 4 hours, we're gonna begin trying. That's one of my New Year's resolutions. Let me just look through this right quick and see if I have another young Earth creationist weird person sputtering out bullshit that we can watch. If not, we'll look one up right quick. I have a song from Al Trucker about this subject that we will play in just a second.
No.
Exactly.
And I have not heard many people who believe evolution is true arguing for human society becoming the law of the jungle. That's like a straw man that the young Earth creationists use.
Yeah, very, very good. Thanks for pointing that out. That's a very good point for sure. All right. Jesus, I have so much weird, crazy. Okay, I don't see anything here, so let's play the song first, and then what we'll do is we'll just put in the search bar Young Earth Creationists, and we'll just see what some of the first things that come up are, and then we'll just blow from there. So here we go. Here is the song that Al made.
Even boy, well, I'm packing up and sticking on the head. Real women come quick, script, fast, finding alternate. Feel like buy an old doll, have to find a tattered rope.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna.
Then I'm gonna lock it up and down the hall. Be Monique with a bottle of pills and watch lots of AI. I had Jeff with like chilling the low, bit give a goat to the bull, drink with the sharp perch, get thrown in hell from the way.
We're gonna have to have him come in and like tell us what's really going on, because like I'm a little lost. It's supposed to be about.
It's
Kent
a bit hard to
Hovid
follow.
or Kent Hovid and Young Earth Creations. I don't know. Anyways, so let's just do this.
Some of that art reminds me of the sequel of the Far Cry 5 video game.
Yes, yeah, Far Cry, definitely.
That's a Far Cry. Oh.
So there is a channel called Young Earth Creation. Let's just look at that right quick.
Ooh, a channel full of
man. Okay, so it looks like
No, bat shit.
Yeah.
Crazy.
In between. Sorry guys, I'm gonna drop out because a colleague of mine is waiting in a restaurant in a hotel.
Okay, yes, definitely. We'll see.
Have a great time.
I surely will. And I was last night the first one that celebrated New Year's in in the Northern Americans, because I'm fucking in Newfoundland. Yeah.
Nice.
Hey,
Okay.
great show, guys.
Yes.
See you
we'll
later.
see ya. Well, let's go ahead and see what this is.
Iron.
Oh my Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I guess that is a thing. Anyways, back. We'll just do this again. And then let's see. Oh Jesus Christ. Here we go.
So this is John's lab.
Yeah, I've been here at Cedarville for 30 years now. And done a lot of work in this lab and a couple other labs that are next door to this one.
And some of them are
Here
meth
we have,
labs.
what's called the petrographic microscope. This is a microscope that's designed for looking at thin sections. And this is what a thin
These are
section.
the slides
Yep.
that Ray produces for you.
Yep, this is what Ray makes. These are from his lab in Calgary.
Okay, and what do they do?
He takes a rock like this and will
He bashes
slice
himself in the head
a
with it.
really thin layer off of it and glue it on a glass slide and then polish it down so you can see
Okay.
through it. And,
Okay.
you know, if you hold it up to the light, you can see the light passes right through that.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
and
so
what do you
that
do with
allows
that?
us
Indeed,
to
that's
study
pretty
the
cool.
sand grains under the microscope. So
It's quite an art to make the thin sections.
yeah.
That is definitely cool, but what are you idiots going to do with it that's going to misrepresentate, not show science correctly? How are you idiots going to use this electronic equipment or this measuring device or this something not right? Because once again, that's what happens usually with some people is you can totally not use something correctly and it's going to give you weird results.
Here's, I've got a slide on the microscope right now, and this is one of the thin sections from the Coconino sandstones, and it has what we call ooids in here, and these
ooids.
I don't want to view your products, you twat. Ooids, sediment grains covered by layers of another material. Okay. I don't know 100%, but sure. That since he's using this like a weird obscure thing, I feel like he's only using this weird thing because he's able to get the result that he wants from it.
These are
Circular.
dolomite ooids.
Ovoid.
Yeah,
shapes.
they look like balls almost. And what happens is you get a little sand grain rolling around in the surf or rolling around on an ocean bottom. As it rolls around, just like a kid rolling a snowball. You know how a snowball gets bigger?
Yeah.
These little sand grains accumulate the dolomite around them.
So you can see the sand grain in the middle.
Yeah.
That white
So they
spot,
get bigger and not
coating
smaller?
around.
You know, this
That's not what happens in the ocean, you weirdo. It actually would be getting
Ooids
smaller.
are a real thing, but he's
No,
probably going to
I-
misinterpret it.
No,
I
totally.
found
and yeah.
a definition. Different than what he's showing.
So they have one or more regular concentrical blah, 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 around the nucleus, usually a carbonate particle or quartz grain. Yeah, no. Like I said, the reason he's using this obscure mineral or rock or whatever slice he's using is because it fits his narrative. He's fitting his narrative with it.
this was amazing evidence for us. I still remember opening up my email, looking at this, and I was just amazed because this is just
Why?
incredible evidence that the coconino was made underwater. You can't make these kinds of things in a desert.
It looks like mud that's stacked on. Never mind. I don't know how they're made, but it does not. That's not the first thing I would go to.
Presented this at a National Geology meeting, and I had a
And they laughed
scientist
at
come
you.
up that knew I was a young Earth creationist and was skeptical about all the work I had done. And every geologist would look at that and know that those were ooids, except if
We
they're
said
in the
coconino
coconino.
in front of the name.
Isn't that
interesting? As soon as it was
so it's
coconino.
just, I don't want to see this. Yep. He just would not look at it, would not admit.
Wait, it being something else, or then, God damn it. When you're presented with different information, or when something it turns out to be something else, or made a certain different way, or blah blah blah, yakety schmackety, especially if you tricked people into believing it was something, then of course after they are told this is what it is, you're like, oh yeah, well never mind then, duh. Okay, that makes sense now. You know, like, and this is one of those things. It's one very, very, very small piece of fake evidence, and even if it was evidence, a black swan does not debunk all of evolution, all of the way that we're able to find out and date things, find out how old things are and date things. This is the silliest thing. You barely found anything, homie, and it's not even proving anything. So
Yeah.
It would not even study them to see if they were ooids or not. And it just said, nope, those can't be ooids. Those aren't ooids. And, wanted to drop the subject almost immediately. I pressed him on it a little bit, but he didn't want to go any further on
So
it.
what happens when someone is captive in a paradigm?
Yeah.
They don't want to see any evidence that's contrary to that paradigm. And that's what was happening to him.
That's called a religion.
That's one of the neat things that we do as creation scientists.
I love when people that are in a niche field like this, that they say that everybody else is in the niche field. They're like, they won't get out of their thinking of it this way because everybody tells you to. And you're like, no, bro, everybody else is doing peer-reviewed stuff or looking at peer-reviewed, and they're going, well, this has got to be the data, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you throw in this weird, obscure thing, and you think everybody's supposed to go, yes, I'm going to believe in your weird, obscure, crazy bullshit for no, And if nobody wants to delve into it, you know why? Make a peer-reviewed study. Give it to everybody to look at first. Don't just throw one slide at somebody and tell them, this is the thing, and then, this is.
And the fun thing is, they're probably leaving something out because they say, like, they didn't want to research if they were those things. Okay. But maybe they said, they already said, like, but they probably this and that. Like, they probably got a counter argument, which they are leaving out. They just said, like, oh, no, we're not looking at that.
No, of course. They're definitely being underhanded about not telling us the full fucking story, because obviously there's a reason why these people said they're not going to look at it. They already know the information. They've already looked at these. We already know enough about these, and or the way that he's presenting them is false. So why are you going to believe or look into anything else he's doing?
I do believe if they said this was Cedarville College, I looked it up because it rang a bell from my Christian phase when a preacher that I used to listen to did an address there. It's a private Baptist college, I think, in Ohio. So they would be making these claims because they'd be Baptist if it's Cedarville.
Okay, so it says down here, this is a clip from Mountains After the Flood. These people claim to be geologists. I am not going to say that they are because I don't believe that without proof. It's called the Grand Canyon, or the project in the Grand Canyon. Let's see. I thought they were going
I mean,
to
in
say
the video, they said they
who
were
did
from
it.
Cedarville.
Film synopsis is their
It doesn't say where they are.
well, film synopsis. So let's see if it says. I guess this is clipped out of a film. I don't know. Well, I'll look into this. We'll look into this a little bit more later. It doesn't say that, and I don't remember when or where they said what the name of the thing was, but that makes sense what you're saying. I would believe that you're on the right track, Commander, for what you found.
We kind of have a different way of looking at things, and so
Then
we
it's not
tend
how it
to
works.
collect data and look for data that probably other people miss, or probably they might have seen it, but
No, you look for data that fits your narrative, and then you go, haha, Black Swan, I caught ya. But then you try to use that in a different situation or use a different variable or put that in a different scenario with different variables or things like that. Then you can't replicate that. So you have to be able to replicate these things over and over again. And that's the difference between you and the science community. Yeah, or the communal,
they
the
really
real
don't
science.
think very deeply
The
about it and think about the
peer-reviewed
implications.
shite.
And that's one of the things I think I enjoy most about a creative.
Because remember, the science community is not scared of the Bible being right. Nobody cares if the Bible was right or the Quran was right or any of these biblical texts. Nobody gives a flying F if they are right. We've just gotten further and further away from them. For one, we realize that their stories, fables, myths, algorithms, yes, did some of that stuff maybe happen? Maybe, but the only other thing about that is if some of these weird, crazy things happen, why did not multiple other cultures have that written down in their history books or history some way, shape, or form? Like, do you think if Jesus resurrected off of the cross, the world wouldn't fucking write about that? What are you talking about? Wouldn't you, if you were like, I know there's not news organizations during his time, but if you were a emperor, empress, or somebody who looked over a land, and somebody told you that miraculously this dude, Christ guy, blah blah blah, yeah, wouldn't you send somebody there to go check it out? And wouldn't you have them write about it? Like, there's not enough writings about enough of these things from other cultures enough to say that most of these things happened, or all, or that again, they're stories, right? Abel didn't kill Cain. It is a whatever that's called, right? Whatever. It's a story to teach a lesson. That's what it's for. Did it fucking happen? Probably not, because it's a just like the boy who cried wolf. Was there ever a boy who cried wolf? Probably none. Maybe, but it was a story to teach you to not keep lying, so that thank you, Beck. I'm guessing that's a story that tells a lesson. That's what a lot of the Bible is if something happens to you, what would you do?
Allegory, you mean?
Yeah.
It's allegory. It's moralizing lessons. Some of it has a little bit of history, and the further you get towards the current day, the more likely it is to have happened.
And remember, like a ghost story or a story or something that somebody tells, there is a minute thing of truth in it, right? There is a little bit of truth in all of the things. The only thing is when you went fishing, you caught a fish this big, and now we tell a story that it was this big, and you had to fight it, it swallowed you, and then after it swallowed you, you had to live inside of it, and the only way to get out was to light the candle so that the smoke built up and get out. You know what I'm saying? So there is a tiny bit of truth to stuff, but then it turns into who knows? I mean, it's just like a telephone, that game. You start with one person and they tell somebody else in their area, and you go around the table, and eventually that story or that phrase or sentence turns into something completely insane. So you never know where or why. And again, they're stories taught to teach you a fucking lesson.
Hey, Maya.
Hey, Maya.
In the side of the chat.
Ooh, with animals. Never mind. Sorry, but you're right. You're right. Fables are more like that, and again, they're allegories, they're poems, they're all the other thingy bobbers I keep saying over and over again. So let's keep blowing on with this. It's not literal. Just remember that, you fucking weirdos.
Creation scientists, because there are so many discoveries out there that are just
We're not
waiting for it.
I don't even think like, just right quick. I don't even think like in Tibet, you know, other cultures like pagan, I think most of the time in most of the stuffs, there's learning stories. They're not exactly supposed to be thought as historical moments and or always like real things, like the beginning of time for different cultures, or the reason why there's a river at this place wasn't because they think an actual giant went through there. It's more of like, you know, it could be a storm or another thing, but we're using a representation of this god being human like, and then they drag their axe through and made it, but they're an obvious deity that's not seen. So it would be nature technically, right? And so, I mean, I think that we should need to understand that that's a lot of what stories being told around the campfire is fun things for the kids to hear on why things happen.
The Old Testament, the Tanakh, was a compilation of oral stories that was brought together and written down after the exile from Babylon. And it was meant to create a culture and give people an identity and a history that was, I guess, maybe partially true, partially not, but it was never intended to as what the Christians have done with it.
Yeah, because remember, if anybody has been around a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, you constantly hear why, everything's why, right? So it's
and
really
parents
nice
just
to
give an answer.
Well, yeah, and it's nice to be like, why did that lake appear, or why did the sun set or something? Okay, Grandpa, here's the story time. Go set the kid on Grandpa's lap, and you're like, peace. I'm gonna go have sex with the wife, while Grandpa tells the story for a half an hour, or you sit there and now there's something for the family to do. Remember, back in the day, there was no TV, there's no magazines, there's no reading, there's no anything other than that when most of these things were put into
the magazines
zeitgeist.
and no mega
no
mega
scene.
Yeah, no mega scene.
Yeah, sure. No pornos and anything. So what was is you had these stories, you sat around the campfire and you listened to these things and you took them in, and you hopefully they were those things like about leprechauns, fairies, and Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, that once you got older, the people around you in society were like, okay, those were the kids' stories. Now here's the grown-up version of life. There is no Tooth Fairy and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, people like this, everybody who's on the screen in the video, nobody ever told them, okay, you know how the leprechauns aren't real and the Tooth Fairy and Santa isn't? Okay, so you don't need to take this literal. It was all stories to help you learn how to be a good person in life. Because you still can, I mean, literally, that's what these things are. You can get that from these things.
In 500 years, people will be worshiping a giant blue ox and revering Paul Bunyan.
Exactly, because it would be that time to be rolling around next. Anyways, all right, let's get more into this.
We're not constrained. We're able to ask questions that they're not asking.
And that's what's kind of driven you to this research now, right? I mean, because
Why would I ask if the Earth is 6,000 years old, you twats? Why would I try to rebut that? Just like the flat Earth, why would I try to prove the flat Earth when I have so much evidence against it? You fucking idiots.
conventional paradigm would have never gone in
You
to
wanna-
take
would wanna feel
samples
No, they
to
haven't.
look
They've
at that
just, they've
fold.
just talked about these folds and just assumed that they were formed long after the rocks were
Right.
formed.
Oh my Jeebus, I have to read this. Oh, that's so great. All right. In my day, we rode around on bicycles with an onion in our belts, which was the fashion at the time. All right, all right.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they're having one on us. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure.
I'm
I don't think
hoping.
spooky bed hair is that old, but I mean, I don't know. And this is what I was talking about earlier. See how the rock, the levels are squished in weird ways, and it's doing this weird pattern. That's because of tectonic, hi spooky, tectonic movement, most likely, and or it could be volcanic, but friction causes heat and also pressure and a couple other things. So there's a handful of reasons why this could look like this. It isn't, and they're going to say that it had to have happened very, very fast. And it could, but it may not have. That doesn't matter exactly how fast
Things like that happen because that's probably was once the base of a mountain range, and it was hot. It was underneath the earth, and things get twisted like that. When I drive the trucks through the mountains, I see shit like that all the time. And Appalachia used to be where we're standing. It used to be miles below the surface.
Yeah, in Utah, let's see, Nevada, there are all these wonderful, amazing, beautiful plateaus, mountain ranges, and all that stuff. And that literally looks like what you're driving past for some of the time. And what you're on, what's around it is desert. So that means all of this shit. Well, let's pretend this is in Nevada. If this was in, all around it is desert. So that means at one point in time, all of this was, or this most likely would have been under the earth, like Commander was saying, and then things went and moved and pushed and did things, and that's why we have mountains, which Kent Hovind and his son have no understanding of why they're fucking mountains. Like they think they had to be made during the flood, which how did the flood make fucking Machu Picchu or fucking all those high ass mountains? What's the one that everybody dies trying to climb because they think they're cool?
Everest?
There's like 30 bodies. Everest, yeah. Things like that. So it's redonkulous. And just listen to what he's going to say about this.
Slim, a little known fact, like Mount Everest was named after Mr. Everest. At what height was Mr. Everest buried?
Wait, you mean where did he drop dead and they just left him?
At what height was he buried?
They actually took his dead body up there and they buried him somewhere?
No, he was buried at sea level. He never saw the mountain.
Did he even make it to look at it?
No, he never even saw it. I don't remember exactly how it was, but that's just a simple, stupid fact that I remembered.
Jesus.
The
Okay.
fact that
okay,
he never even saw the mountain and it was named after him.
Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna go back and now we're gonna hear this douche nozzle here on the left tell us why we're wrong about all of the stuff that people have spent like their whole entire life studying. They have almost killed themselves going to locations to go dig up rock samples, fossils, and other things. how they are all wrong about the findings that they have made personally.
Look
They've
at that
just- They've
fold.
just talked about these folds and just assumed that they were formed long after the rocks were
Right.
formed, and therefore there had to be mechanisms that allowed the rock to bend when it was very hard. As creation scientists, we think these layers were laid down during the flood. The folding occurred only a year later at the end of the flood. When the
A year later,
Oh,
somehow
but
that
slip like the stained glass things in churches.
Yes.
That will still liquid. It's not completely solid. Some are showing signs of dripping after a long time.
What? Do we have
Yeah.
video of that shit?
No,
Well, the bottom gets a lit after about 100 years. You can measure the where it gets lower.
Okay.
It like flows real slow, and like the bottom is sometimes thicker than the top.
Yeah,
But-
there's much that is
Okay.
actually solid. Like
Glass is a super fluid. I mean, not a super fluid. I forget what that is. Where it's like it seems solid, but it's not really.
Okay. Anyways.
It's an
So this is the
extremely
Rocky
viscous fluid.
viscous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is the Rocky Mountains that they're showing right now. There is no way that this happened because of a fucking flood, you dumb cunts. It definitely had to
No.
happen
No.
before, and it took a long time for this to happen. Just like the Grand Canyon that Kent Hovind thinks that says would happen within 100 years or something like that, is what his punk ass said.
Yeah, dumbass.
He's like, water will just fucking roll down and it will just make this. Yeah, except for like when you look at the fucking walls of the fucking sides, there's cutting and there's other things that prove that.
And
things
also like if like a flood would do that within a year, like by now with all the rain, it would have been gone. Because if water is
Exactly,
that
it would-
corrosive,
yeah, it
like,
would be no more already for sure. It's
it would have already
dumb.
flattened out.
Yeah, exactly. Similarly, he's dumb as fuck.
mountains and plateaus were rising in the west. If that's the case, we wouldn't expect there to be evidence of the rocks changing under heat and pressure. That's what we're investigating.
Except for there's volcanic activity and we do have the tectonic plates, and then under us it's always like hot, so there can be a lot of pressure being thrown around and used. I mean, what the fuck?
And
Volcanic-
you know what I also wonder? Like the dude said, like the this guy cuts real thin slithers from a stone and then puts it on a piece of glass and then polishes it. But that cutting and polishing, doesn't that have an effect on what the stone looks like?
It totally could. But again, I don't know why he thinks this is proving shite anyways.
Yeah,
you
no,
weirdo.
but like that's
Like-
just a stupid thing that popped into my head. Like because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
actually working on it. If you are polishing it, it's not just polishing; you're actually grinding it.
Yeah,
And
you should grind-
with a very fine, but still.
Bow chicka bow wow. The Earth's grinding. Oh, never mind. Yeah, Everest grows 44 millimeters a year and makes you the next person to climb it the highest. Yes, definitely. That's the thing is a lot of these things do keep growing. I think the Rocky Mountains grows every year as well as the depth of the Grand Canyon. And the height of the Grand Canyon stays about the same, if I remember correctly. The Great Sphinx shows thousands of years of water damage. Depth. Those thousands of years are over 6,000 years. Yes. Remember, the time that what is it? Queen, God damn it. No, not Nefertiti. Anyways, like the time between like the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Tyrannosaurus Rex was like gazillions of years. The time between this Egyptian queen and this one, and then our time is fucking insane. And then there's a handful of other things that you can look up too. That's like thousands of years between. Thank you so much, Q. Cleopatra. Thank you. From the time of Cleopatra to blah 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 to this and that, it is further than. So
I think I need to address our gray person in the side chat. Sometimes it's just funny to let him stumble.
Thank you.
And if you give him the answer, call him a dumbass.
College.
Sorry, what, Commander?
This place is a fundamentalist Baptist college.
Yeah, totes. Exactly.
So not a college.
You can figure that out.
An indoctrination center.
They call themselves a college. I have to actually check if they're accredited. If they're teaching this shit, they should lose their accreditation.
Yeah, if they're accredited, like we need to fight that. What?
Yes. Okay. So we pretty much don't need to go any further into that one. Let's try to see if we can find something else, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. Okay, well, let's look at something else first. That's a year ago.
And creationists, if you're going to pull a date that doesn't exist in reality for your age of your Earth, at least do the math with the Bible to get the right date. 5,784 years. If you're going to pull a fake date out, at least have a date with some real research behind it.
Yeah,
do your
but
fucking
like
math.
Yeah, but like that is like hard to remember. So just saying 6,000 is easier.
Or 5,800 is a lot closer.
But still, that's harder to say and harder to remember. To realize they even got less intelligence.
And it's not a real creation date either. So.
I believe.
Okay, so this is old as fuck.
Ken Hovind.
Yeah, this is old as fuck, but somebody clipped this out and they only did it 5 days ago. I don't know exactly why, but I'm going to begin playing this. I'm going to grab another beer and then I will be back and then we will make fun of this idiocracy. And I knew we were going to get to him eventually, so you're welcome, everybody.
Believe very strongly that the earth is about 6,000 years old. It was created in 6 literal 24-hour days. This position would make a few predictions. The Bible says clearly, in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and all that in them is. Everything created in 6 days. Now, based on that prediction, based on that premise, we can make a few predictions, which is what science is supposed to do. A scientific theory is supposed to allow you to make predictions. I predict, based on the Bible teaching, that the universe will show evidence of order and design all over the place, okay? I predict that we'll find thousands of symbiotic relationships in nature, animals that require certain plants and plants that require certain animals, and it works just fine because they were all created within a few days of each other. Not a problem at all for the creationist viewpoint. I predict that there will be limits to the variations that life forms are able to produce.
That guy. Hate him
If
all.
you're talking, you're muted.
Evolution would produce all of that.
No, I just had to pause it on this because I knew this was going to be fun to go over. I have no idea what he just said, but we'll stop here. And now, all right. So based on the assumption that we can make several scientific predictions, number one, I predict that the universe will show evidence of order and intelligent design. So remember, the scientific method does not go on your presumption or your prediction, right? It goes on how you try to disprove
well
what you
first have like a prediction, thinking like, okay, I suspect that this is happening, and then the funny thing is, you don't try and prove it; you're trying to disprove it.
Exactly, similarly.
Like if you can't disprove it, like then
show evidence and order of intelligent design. 2, I predict that there will be thousands of symbolic relationships in nature. What the fuck does that mean, you weirdo?
Symbiotic.
Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry, my
organisms.
Organisms. That's okay, my fellow dyslexic cunt.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense than what my punk ass said. But anyway, so 3, I predict that there will be limits to the variations life forms are able to produce, and what Kent Hovind would call kinds. And there's no such thing.
The Bible says they will bring forth after their kind, and that's what we've observed.
I said it. I knew it.
6,000 years of human history shows us dogs produce dogs.
Yeah, except for different species, and if you mix this dog, it makes a different type of dog, and eventually it will make something else if you keep perverting its DNA. Like there are now wolves that seem to have more of a canine DNA that are be more modernized around cities and shit like that. So even
of course,
foxes,
like those wolves probably end up mating with runaway missing dogs.
Sure, and there's a handful. So yes, Ken, you're fucking pretend right, but they make other things, you idiot, and we can see the evolution in animals constantly. There's birds all over that change their beak size. Excuse me.
The variation in dogs is due to human beings selecting different traits, so we can speed it up. It's like still basically genetically the same species. It's just different breeds.
Yeah, and like that's even evolution, but like because like evolution is like what your environment asks of you, but in this case the environment is like what is the human that wants to have you as a companion or tool, what do they ask from you? Like, so that's and like the dogs that don't fit well in that narrative, like what the human wants, don't get to reproduce.
So really quick, I want to say this before we get further on. You want to know what? He doesn't fucking say this claim anymore. He says frogs or some weird shit. He doesn't say dogs don't make blah blah blah, because so many people were like, technically these dogs make different dogs and blah blah blah. Like we have like representation of
and
evolution,
and we know for a fact that dogs that they come from wolves.
Yeah, and then we domesticated them, or they somehow started becoming domesticated, and then we brought them in. Like,
but then again, like wolves and dogs can still breed together. So
just like domestic cats, that they were not actually domestic at first, and then they became a thing. You know, like they were a fox version or something. I don't remember the evolution, but again, we caused them to evolve. And then if you look at like tiny birds and or bugs, they evolve quick as fuck. So if you get a new nut or berry or a new food source, a new flower or something like that, you're gonna get an evolution of noses or tongues or things like that. You know, whoever has the longest tongue is going to survive, and now they're going to be able to get the blah blah, you know, or the shorter or the whatever. I mean, but we have so many examples of, like, Darwin found what, like 20 different types of sparrows or some bullshit like that on multiple islands, and they're obviously the same little bird, just barely different. You know what I'm saying? Colorization, beak size, claw size, temperament, and a couple other things that they were able to notice it was different. And then now we can notice that with the changing of the times. Now that we're going through, we don't call it global warming anymore. What's it called?
Climate change.
There we go. Climate change. We definitely, the finches and the Galapagos. Thank you so much. We're seeing that small birds like finches and other things like that, sparrows, they're changing very, very rapidly as well, or they're evolving very rapidly, because when you have a species that makes a gazillion and a half of them, you're going to see that change kind of quick. You know what I'm saying? If humans had 20 babies at one time, we definitely see evolution going faster.
Well, and also, if your lifespan is shorter. Hey.
Yeah. Because you're going to be flipping. Yeah. Hey, captive desk. Welcome. So, anyways, let's blow on with the idiocracy that we're going to hear Kent Hovind tell us. And what's funny is we don't even need to watch a more current version of his stuff, because this is technically the same shit he's still sputtering out today. Although this sounds more like his son nowadays, what his son's sputtering out, and he's not so like.
He's only whacking atheists. SpongeBob.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing it in a different way, and he's not really like. Well, I guess the other day I heard him push this. He said, "Well, frogs don't make foxes," or some weird shit, and I'm just like, "Yeah, you dumb cunt. That's not how the fucking world works, you twat." And even with evolution or not evolution, it wouldn't fucking work that way.
Time. It might be a big dog or a little dog. It might have curly hair or straight hair, but it's going to be a dog, guaranteed, okay? Farmers actually count on that. I mean, when they plant corn, they expect...
Wait, what, you weirdo?
Oh, fuck, we need to look up what native corn looks like. I mean, corn that was unaffected by... unaffected by human selection and then human selecting.
Yeah, real corn looks fucking insane, and like it's not very well. It's nowhere close to what it is now, for sure. Just like bananas and shit, or at least that version of the banana we've mutated into making it look like that. Just like is it a strawberry? I think it's a strawberry. And then tomatoes, we've just kept breeding so that they're less acidic, and so they're easier to palate. And then wheat and everything has been fucking mutated to look fucking crazy. So, anyways, but
wait. What?
What's his los? Yeah. So on the left, is that's original corn. Plant. Yeah, on the left is original maize or corn or whatever, and then on the right is what we have manufactured it to be. Yeah. So if you ever go to New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada, I think those are some of the states you can buy. I know there's other places you can buy it, but it's more prevalent there, where you can buy like stuff that looks. It's all the different colors. It's the red, the black, and and some other colors. And the kernels are not moist and soft inside. You know, you have to boil them, or you have to do things to them because they're a lot harder. Oh my God, the Ray Comfort with the banana. Jesus, look, it fits right into my hand. Yeah, you dumb cunt. Because
that's why it fits me. Mine.
We did that. We fucking made it so that the banana fits in your hand. Like literally, we manufactured it genetically to fucking do that, you twat whistle. And you know what else fits in your hand? A gentleman's penis, you dumb cunt. That was the dumbest thing that he could have said. Look, it's like if I do this on it, it's like, yeah, dude, that's what you do to a dude's penis too. You idiot. Like, I couldn't be gay because guess what? the penis fits in my hand and it fits in my mouth so well, and my anus. Oh, but never mind. Okay, I'm done. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
and we grew out the seeds in there. So there's basically no seeds in a banana anymore.
Yeah, and then every fucking fruit
So fucking
has
much.
been.
I'm actually looking up bananas before people. I will have the picture shortly.
Sweet, awesome.
Interesting.
You're welcome, Desk, and you're welcome back. So let's keep blowing on, and that's not how this works, Kent. People don't hope that they're going to get. No, we've genetically been manufacturing these things for so long that you're going to get most likely the outcome that you wanted, unless there's I want to say an infection, but that's not right. Fungus. There we go. Fungus, or some other thing that causes it to not work. Or if you keep over inbreeding, even with genetic material that's not human or animals, you can get it to fuck itself. You can cause it to not work, it to not make what you want it to make in the right way.
And you always keep forgetting this because you said it, but you should have done this.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Yes, thank you, Brainless. That's exactly where I need.
You're not
we
how
needed
this
to go
works.
with that. So, Kent, people do not buy and spend gazillions of dollars on seed and feed that they don't know what it's going to actually do. You weirdo. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Does not look very tasty.
So the bottom one is what originally a banana would look like, and the top one is what we have manufactured through genetics to look like. So
Yeah, that bottom one does not look too appetizing.
ah, Jeebus.
Nope.
Okay. I didn't press the right button.
Selective breeding.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I keep trying, but like they're all way too selective.
And yeah, and that's exactly what the Christian white nationalists want, is selective breeding as well. And one of these days we will talk about the 2024 agenda that the evangelicals came out with, and it's fucking scary. But anyways, let's keep blowing on.
To get corn.
That,
and so far it
thing
has
about the sacred purge I sent you when you do that.
Yeah.
You mean
exactly.
Project
It's
24?
Yeah, it's Project 2024.
That's just fucking scary.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to go over
2025, Project 2025.
Oh, it's 20. Sorry, that's right. You're right. Anyways, I felt like this was gonna help us lead into more of the evangelical nationalists in America, and then we'll go over that. And I have a couple other things, because we went over the Trump state, or the Trumpanites that were trying to make their own county, or I think it said state, but there was no way that was going to happen, but like own town or something like that. And they have like a stupid amount of people that fucking bought houses in this little area, and we like listen to them sputter out their fucking insanity. And so I figure like we just need to go over more of the history of some of this first, and then we'll delve further into it. Because now if somebody is like, I don't know, like that watches another stream in the future, or hopefully everybody is watching here, so when we do things in the future, they know what we're talking about. But if not, I can go watch that stream first, and then come over here and look at the rest of this, because we have to go over the history of why these people think this. And once again, we're going to have to go over the beginning of QAnon and that stuff too, because now QAnon is rising its ugly head again for no reason. Nobody is posting as Q, but all these fucking weird Trumpanites keep being like, yeah, Q is gonna give us a sign soon, and you're like, Oh my Jesus Christ! Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Okay, anyways, let's go.
Yeah,
happen.
it's like
So certainly there
Q
are variations.
drops. I was just gonna say, Q was a troll. Q dropped 666. Follow the light, like in Lucifer, because of 666.
Yeah.
So if you're stupid enough to follow for Q, you deserve what you get. Unfortunately, we don't deserve you.
Yeah. And the thing is, where did they begin putting their posts? The fucking
4chan
troll,
and 8chan.
yeah, the troll universe, the most trolly place in the fucking world. The chans, the 4s, the 8s, the 6s, the 9s, the 12s, the whatevers. Everything. That dude. You don't. That's exactly what that was for. Is to troll motherfuckers, either to show graphic shit, CP, or it was to troll motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? That literally was the main purpose of those fucking sites, and that's what was going on. Some fucking crazy ass weirdo was probably smoking drugs and getting drunk and got on a whim, just was like, hey, what if I did this little thingy mabobber? And then motherfuckers lashed onto it, and then he just kept running with that bullshit for a hot second until he decided that he wanted to sell it to the owners of the website. And then Ron blah 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 and his dad began posting his Q for a hot second, and then fucking dumbass whatever tried to run for Congress or Senate or state, I don't remember, and he looked like a complete douche nozzle because all he is he doesn't have public presence. Okay, he is a computer coder, right? He doesn't know how to go into public and talk and speak publicly, and that was his main problem. And then now Q is technically dead. I mean, I don't think he's posting anymore. I think if anything, it's once in a blue moon there's a fake account that's posting saying they're him. I don't know. But anyways, let's keep blowing on.
But there are definite limits to the variations, and this is where the major difference comes between the creationist and the evolutionist. I predict that there are not only limits to the variation, I predict that there will be actually a purpose to life, because we were designed by a creator for a purpose. That's a prediction based on the Bible view. I predict there will be non-material.
Okay, well, citation needed in that motherfucker. Where is the proof that we have a purpose other than we just got spooged onto this existence and now we're just trying to make it through without going through as much trauma as possible before this shell of a form decides to stop running anymore?
Those are not things. Those are
And once again, why can't people give themselves their own drive in life? Even if this was just a random spooging out of existence, what is stopping me from having a wonderful time realizing I can be whatever the fuck I want in life and I can pursue any goal that I want without some weird person looking over my shoulder constantly? And then when something goes wrong, I can say that they're trying to punish me for not being pure enough or not sucking God's dick enough, or yeah, exactly.
You're not kissing Hank's ass enough?
Yeah, exactly. Scientists don't make up conclusions based upon preconceived ideas. At least they shouldn't. No, and that's another reason why you make up a peer-reviewed study. You throw it out in the zeitgeist, and you get everybody and their mom that is interested in trying to debunk you or to look at the study to recreate it, either to prove it or disprove it, and or to use it in a study to make another science off of it. Because remember, we ride on the backs of the people before us or whatever, right? That's the thing for science?
It was Newton who said, I stand on the backs of giants.
Yeah, there we blow. And that meant that
Stand on
I
the
don't
shoulders of
need-
giants. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Commander. And that means that we do not need to go and research the Earth's circumference or other things that people have already figured out. But we can take that information. Sorry, excuse me. I don't know if you heard that. I'm sorry, I burped. But you can take that information and then use that calculations to springboard you to the next level, right? Okay, these people already did this and got this information. Now I put that here, and then now I make mathematical equations that are gonna run off of those. Now we're progressing in technology, science, and understanding. Anyways, let's keep blowing on. Although we know why Ken Hovind and his son are doing this is because they're making money off of this.
Yep.
Okay.
Not 60 days out of prison, Kent Hovind was selling Laetrile to cancer patients. Cyanide to cancer patients, everybody. Real Christian.
Yeah.
He's a scam artist and a grifter, and he doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody besides himself, obviously, because of like everything we've seen. And like he's gotten arrested for tax fraud, and then he let what's his name that was charged for not being nice to kids on his land and blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. We can go on for days talking about how horrible this person is.
Things like love, sense of justice, mercy, innate knowledge of right and wrong, a conscience, and absolute truth. Those things are not possible with the evolution theory. They are predicted based on the creation theory. Somebody designed this for a reason. I predict that there will be a way to find the will of the creator, such as messengers speaking for him, or maybe even a...
And you know how old this motherfucking video is? And he predicted that they're gonna find out all this crap, and it never fucking materialized. It never happened. He never figured out a way to prove his
He doesn't have a conscience.
Yeah,
of course he doesn't have a conscience, dude.
Love is a chemical reaction. Sorry, guys. Yes, it is. And the sense of justice and good and wrong, like that is also evolution. Like if you fuck with other people and you get killed, that's natural selection. So the people that are kind to each other are gonna survive longer.
Okay. That
it's a creation of society, and like
it's just when war comes into it, then it turns a little bit weird. But anyways, let's just keep blowing on.
But like overall,
like you're saying, no, I get you.
And like moral, that is something that is not that old. Like morality, like look at what kind of wars have been fought, and how, and like the fact that we had slavery.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, okay, let's keep blowing on.
Book telling us why he did it and how he did it. I predict there will be an afterlife where we will face the creator to give an accounting. Okay, the Bible dates, if you add them up in scripture, comes to about 6,000 years ago for the creation.
Of course he says that's bullshit.
Not million.
And what citation needed, motherfucker? How do you know that we're going to meet a creator and it's going to judge us afterward? What if there's a creator and it doesn't give a flying fuck about us after we die?
There's a large difference between 6,000 and 20 billion. Congress doesn't seem to understand that, but there is a big difference, okay? Now,
what does Congress
based on the Bible teaching that the earth was originally created where
He said Congress doesn't understand that. What does Congress have to do with your religion?
Yeah, and
or is he talking about them not wanting to implement it on schools?
He's crying about how many...
I was going to say, if he believes that there is a creator, spending your entire life manipulating people's religion and selling Laetrile to cancer patients is not a good way to make a first impression.
Yeah, no, I know, and obviously he
If
does
God
it with his
exists,
son.
if God exists, he will
If
be
God
sitting
exists,
beside
then
me
he
in
is
hell.
hosed.
Yeah, no, he's completely screwed, and that's why you can kind of believe that he does not believe in any of this bullshit, just like his son. They're just trying to scam and make money as grifters, and yeah, exactly, and it says that, and so like he should have paid his taxes and he should have obeyed all the laws, but he didn't, and he spent time in prison, I believe, for tax evasion and
More than
stuff like
10
that.
years.
Okay, yeah. All right, here we blow.
People live to be 900 years old.
Because that makes motherfucking sense.
We will find lots of legends about a golden age and a creation event. This seems to be kind of universal throughout history. Most people believe there was a creation, and most people believe there was a time when man used to live to be nearly 1,000. The Greeks talked about it, the Babylonians talked about it.
Okay, so you believe that, but you just told us that the Earth is 6,000 years old. So the time period of people only living 1,000 years was only a couple thousand years, and then all of a sudden it changed, and now there's only people that are living 30 years. What the fuck? I never understood this bullshit.
You know,
From
I
thousands of
do
years.
have a theory.
Okay,
You
please
see, if
tell.
you take a month, right? If you take those huge lifespans and then you basically say, is that 1,000 years or 1,000 months? And then all of a sudden it starts looking like the lifespans that you would normally find.
Okay, so 1,000 months
If it's 1,000
would be
months.
20 years. I'm just.
No,
I'm
like
just-
360, there's the old 360 rule. So basically 30 years, I think, is approximately 360 months. So
Okay.
basically 600 something months would, you get the idea.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
need to get my
Yeah.
calculator.
It's okay. No worries. No worries. We don't need to get that deep into it because we obviously understand this, and then they don't. I mean, we don't even need to disprove them just because the idiocracy that we're seeing that they're displaying, because we all know how stupid this bullshit is.
The Sumerians, everybody talked about this golden age. Why? Well, that's predicted based on the creation
85,
viewpoint,
okay.
okay? I predict there will be skeletons found of people showing signs of great age because they were living to be much older, before things happen. And as you grow, especially the brow ridge of your head never stops growing. The constant pull on the back of your head, the occipital bun, based on just the muscles from holding your head forward, is going to elongate the head over 200 or 300 or 400 years. People would look exactly like the Neanderthals look. Brain 13.
But do we have proof that the Neanderthals were that old?
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
So he says like the people in the Bible are Neanderthals that they have that little brain capacity.
I don't know. I don't know. This is a silly that he's trying to even pull this together to try to make it as something. It's fucking insane.
18% bigger than ours, few strange things about their head, but 100% human in every respect. I predict that there will be biological problems with modern man, such as wisdom teeth, because we're not as big as we used to be, and we're developing probably faster. People are maturing faster. They're only living to be 80 or 90 instead of living to be 900. And wisdom teeth are a problem today, not because of evolution, but because we're actually genetically inferior to the...
He said that without laughing or anything. He literally said, 900 years old. God damn, I can't believe
And Beck posted a number, 83.333. Yeah, that's what 1,000 months is approximately.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 30 days. So that's what 1,000 months is in years.
Yeah.
Still quite old.
Yeah.
For
definitely, especially for that time.
Yeah. If you look back, I
would believe that it's more months than it is years for sure. There's definitely a translation problem with the maths for that, for sure. So let's go a little bit more and then the maths.
Original model, Adam and Eve, okay? I predict that there'll be a universal longing for things to be restored to the Garden of Eden conditions. That's what everybody seems to want, okay? Now, What difference does it make if you believe in evolution or creation? Well, if evolution is true, how do we tell right from wrong? Anytime to
Wait, what does that have to do with evolution?
Here, let me explain.
Go ahead.
Whatever causes the least number of people in my tribe, or in all tribes preferably, not to die is good. And whatever causes everyone to die is bad. And we go from there. And how would I want to be treated? And I treat you the same way, and hopefully we all treat each other the way we would expect to be treated, and then we don't kill each other. That's how it starts.
Thank you, Beck. Yeah, if you have a serial killer in your village and they just kill everybody, then there's nobody to be there. So you're gonna stop that. Or if there's other things that are going on that are causing interruptions in societal norms, you want to stop that. So that would be the first inclinations of finding morality to some extent. But then now that we're going through is the times that we go through, obviously murder, rape, steal, kill, all that stuff is looked down upon, and it's societal norms, not religious or biblical norms, or saying those things are bad per se. It is because throughout time we have found out that we probably don't want those people in society, and we would like to take them out so that we can have a healthy communal growth. Okay.
Tonight, I would like any one of these gentlemen to answer the simple question: if evolution is true, how does anybody tell right from wrong? If I wanted you to make a list of...
I know how to not murder, kill, rape, steal. I mean, I understand the concept of somebody else's being I should not take, and or their stuff without consent, or them giving it to me or earning it. Same with their body, and like I said, consent. We learned that through more understanding and empathy, right? The human body and the human experience has empathy. If we didn't have that, then things would be a lot different. Most of us have it. Does everybody have it?
Serial
Obviously,
killers.
yeah, obviously Kent Hovind doesn't have it as well. I would believe that there's probably bodies in his basement. Allegedly, I would say that. Anyways, let's keep blowing on. Yeah, empathy and a handful of other things cause people to want to follow societal norms and or to stay in there, to not be thrown into a prison, murdered, killed themselves, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, most people understand to some extent, oh, if I do this to these people, then I'm going to have to deal with the justice system.
10 things that are wrong. Before you put anything on the list, I want to know, how are you deciding? Are you deciding right from wrong based on what Osama bin Laden thinks? Do we decide right from wrong based on what Congress thinks? Do we decide right from wrong based on the majority? How do we decide right from wrong? Simple question. I've never had it answered. If evolution is true, death...
Because you never asked the right person, and or you didn't listen to the person's answer when they fucking gave it to you, you twat.
...brought man into the world, and death is actually the hero of the plot. Because if evolution is true, one animal evolves a little better than the rest for some reason, maybe a mutation or something. What must happen to the rest of them? They have to die. Otherwise, the good genes are diluted back into the population and lost.
It's not that they just die automatically. It's not like a food source becomes better or prevalent for this animal because they were genetically born that way, and then the rest of them die off.
They were born that way. Oh,
yeah, the rest of that species slowly starts dying off with the other things that don't have the new genetic adaptation. So the way that you're wording this is also very fucking gaslighting or whatever. I don't remember the right word. I'm maybe a little drunk right now.
Lost. Evolution is a religion of death. Death is actually the hero of the plot. If the Bible is true, then man brought death into the world. If evolution is true, death brought man into the world. These two views cannot possibly be more opposite. Somebody is wrong.
No.
And I enjoy showing them who they are, and that's why I'm here.
No, because God made everything, and if God made everything, then he has the choice to do whatever this. So this is fucking scapegoat, fucking bullshit ass cunt whistle ass shit you're fucking doing right here does not make any sense yet. Fucking goddamn, dude. Can't hope it. You better hope that I never like actually meet you in public because like yeah, it's not gonna be fun for either one of us.
Here, okay. Now, the Bible says clearly that.
Why are you clapping, you losers? Do you not understand how he's a
No, they
dumbass?
don't.
By one man, sin came into the world, and death by sin. The reason we have death and suffering today is because of man's disobedience to the Creator. The Bible says, by man came death. In Adam all die. We have suffering and death because of man's disobedience. If evolution is true, you could read Charles Darwin's.
Yeah, except for that God or the Almighty
okay. No, for this,
give me one.
We got to show Amber, because Amber had I believe what's that Amber that had a short on that. Let me
give
quickly.
me one sec.
Oh, fuck! I was
Sure. You find it and show it because I forgot what I was gonna fucking say. I was trying to.
My apologies. Oh yeah.
We have suffering and death because of man's disobedience.
Yeah, so the God has they're almighty. They can do whatever the fuck they want, but then it's our fault that he set up the game for us to lose so that it had to give us suffering. Yeah, thanks God. Thanks for making the fucking like mousetrap for us so that we fucking fell for it. And then now we have suffering, you fucking twat. Did you find it, Brainless? Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more until Brainless finds it.
I found it, but it's short, so I cannot get it back to the beginning. I gotta wait until the video until the end.
Yeah, and then they're saying that they're really, really old, but then they're not because they're only 6,000 years old. So it's fucking dumb, like everything that he's saying.
Because
just share it and play it.
Yeah, but it's
the world is shit
short.
Because
I cannot.
Of people like Kent Hovind.
Yeah, exactly.
To the beginning. That is that. Okay, present, share screen. Audio is on.
Meet Godbot, an AI apologist who applies perfect logic to some of our deepest questions about the Bible.
Hello.
Godbot.
Nice.
God is all good.
Accepted.
God created Adam and Eve without knowledge of right and wrong.
Accepted.
God told them eating the fruit of knowledge was wrong.
Accepted.
They ate the fruit before understanding what wrong meant.
Accepted.
Why did an all-good God punish them for doing wrong? Well, back to the drawing board, I guess.
Yeah,
So that's so true. Why did they get punished? And everybody will give that short a like.
Yeah, thank you. Why did God set up a game that they knew we were gonna fail?
It's an unwinnable game.
Exactly. So it doesn't make any fucking sense. So what it did is it set up this fucking stupid game to make us suffer constantly, which in itself does not make sense afterwards, because why would somebody do that? Or why would an all-knowing being do that? It seems more likely that nature just snowballed us into this existence, and that's what we're dealing with right now, is molecules and other things exploded, imploded, and did things, and now we're at this point in the existence of that whole expansion of existence and where we are. So I mean, yeah. All right, folks. My brain is like killing me. I have such a bad headache right now, unfortunately. But thank y'all very much for being here. We actually did get through what we were supposed to, and then we got into more stuff. So that was awesome. Hopefully we're gonna be able to do that a lot more. I'm going to try to get through more of the topics that we go over, and I should hopefully have more things for us to go over in the future. I'm learning how to build up more content for us to go over. Yes, everybody, Happy New Year.
Yeah, for everybody who I didn't say it to yet, Happy New Year. Best wishes to all
New
of you
Year.
and your loved ones.
Happy New Beers.
Happy New Queer.
Happy New Queers. So
Whatever floats
all
your
Happy joy.
Happy joy.
Happy
yes.
joy.
All right, thank y'all very much. We have a lot of people still watching, but we're gonna take off. My headache is
It's
killing
2.5 hours,
And then-
man. Like,
And-
that's
Yeah.
been long enough.
Can I make a pitch?
Yes,
Before we go?
please do that.
Go over to my channel, subscribe, Slim, and a lot of the people who used to be on the shills are going to be trying to redo some of the old show formats and cover the fun stuff. We got M2M, we got Drunk Monkeys going to show up when he can, and Loki, Glober Mom, and a bunch of friends. So it's going to be
Yes.
cool. And I gave different people the ability to stream from my channel. It's not mine anymore. It's ours.
Yes. So the X shills are we're starting something new. So yes, definitely look forward to that, and we'll be talking about it soon and giving y'all information about exactly what's going on. So thank y'all very much. I have no idea what's going on tomorrow. Let me see.
That's your little helper need to check. That is AI generated weird stuff.
Oh, we're going over
Even
AI
more
generated
strange.
stuff.
Even more
tomorrow.
strange? Holy
Yes.
shit.
Yeah, even more strange. So tomorrow we're going over AI stuff, and I have a lot of fun, crazy, interesting stuff and things that maybe some of us have made, and we'll go over that. So thank you very much. Y'all have a good night, and we will see you next time. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.